One of the questions that I get most often is, how's the market? Well, if you're wondering about the real estate market in Montgomery County in the spring of 2019, you've come to the right place, because that's what we're talking about today, and we're starting right now. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Harry Moore and I'm a realtor in the Washington, D.C. metro area, and I post new videos every week all about things real estate in the DMV. Alright, so let's get rolling with the statistics for May 2019 for Montgomery County, Maryland. We'll start with new inventory that came on the market. 2,090 new listings came on the market in May versus the prior year of 1,804. That gives you an increase in new inventory of 14%. Total active available at the end of the month was 2,711 versus 3,954 the prior year. So that's a decrease of 32%. Pretty big change there. And then we'll move on to under contract, which would be the demand side. So we've got supply side and demand side over here. 1,318 for the month versus 1,920 the prior year. So you've got a decrease of 31%. You can see that these two numbers are pretty much in lockstep. So that shows that demand and supply, although both were down, they were down fairly evenly. One more thing I'd like to mention is that with this many properties going under contract, it's highly likely that a good number of properties that you might see on Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com, and some of the other portals will not be available. So I would strongly suggest that you contact your agent and have them set up an update search for you through the multiple list so you can be right on top of new inventory as it comes on the market. So now we'll move on to year-to-date numbers. We'll start with total sales. 3,825 this year versus 4,843 the prior year. So that's a decrease of 21%. Pretty substantial slowdown. But if you look at the amount of inventory and how much lower that level is, it kind of makes sense. Next, we'll move on to average sale price year over year. This year, the average sale price in the county was $543,038. Don't forget that $38 now, versus $548,773. So that's a decrease of 0.4%. So not a big change. I'm just going to call it flat. One of the things that people always want to know when they put their house on the market is, how long is it going to take for my house to sell? Well, in May, it took an average of 44 days. Versus 36 the prior year. So that's an increase of 19%. The last number is one that a lot of people don't talk about, and that's the properties that failed to sell, either withdrawn or expired listings. So there were 331 listings that failed to sell in the month of May. And if you look at that as a percentage of the total at the end of the month, it's almost 12%, which is a pretty substantial number for something that a lot of people just sort of ignore. In any market, there are houses that don't sell, even in a really strong seller's market. Well, so you might ask, what does all of this mean? There's another piece of information that I like to look at, and that's what's called the absorption rate. And that is looking at how much inventory there is and how long it would take, given recent demand numbers, for all of that inventory to sell. That's a barometer that we in the real estate business use to determine whether it's a buyer's market or a seller's market. Just to give you the basic framework, 0 to 4 months worth of inventory is a seller's market. 4 to 6 months worth of inventory is what I call a transitional market. It's moving from one to the other. And then 6 months and above is a buyer's market. So here's what we've got in Montgomery County right now. So looking at the demand and supply numbers, if you look at a 12-month rolling average of demand divided into the 2711, that gets you 2.9 months worth of inventory. And if you look at the past 3 months to be a little more reflective of the spring market, that would move you down to 2.2 months worth of inventory. So still strongly in the seller's camp for the moment. So here are a few thoughts about all of that information. Supply and demand seem to be somewhat in balance, but things have moved down. So the market has tightened a little bit. Sales are down year over year, but I think part of that is due to what happened last spring. And that's that interest rates were moving up pretty dramatically. So there were a lot of people who were on the fence who jumped off and got right into the market. And that made the first 4 to 6 months of 2018 really busy, because all those people who'd been sitting there waiting saw rates moving up and they said, we better get something before rates go over 5. Now, as we see, that has changed and rates have moved back down again. But that was a big driver for the first part of the market last year. So if you have a house on the market and and maybe it's been on the market for longer than the 44 days, and you're wondering, well, what's wrong? So there are basically 4 things that dictate whether a house sells or not: price, location, condition, and promotion. So let's go through the 4 of them quickly, just so you can think about what you might do to reinvigorate the marketing on your house. We'll start with location. Well, obviously nobody can do anything about that, so that's a quick conversation. Then we'll move on to condition. That's something that you as the owner control. And I would urge you, if your house has been sitting on the market, to take a look at the competition. Look at the other houses that buyers are shopping along with yours, so you can see how yours compares and if there's anything you need to do to adjust the condition of your property. Now you have to look at the economics of it and if it makes sense, but it's really important to see what buyers are seeing. Take off your owner glasses and put on your buyer glasses. Try to not look through rose-colored lenses to see your house. The next thing to look at is the presentation of the property. Look at the marketing that your agent is providing. Do you have professional photographs? Is there a 3D tour and or a video tour? Is the property being promoted on social media? And how do the listings look, or how does your listing look on the main internet portals? Because sometimes what's on the portals isn't the same thing that's on the multiple list, and you want to make sure that everything lines up as well as possible. So then you look at what you can change and decide if it's worth it. And if it's not, or maybe you decide that it would be better just to adjust the price, well, then that's what you have to do. It's not a happy conversation. It's not something anybody really wants to talk about, but it is something that's important to keep in mind and to keep abreast of, because the market moves quickly and you don't want it to leave you behind. If you're thinking about putting your house on the market and you'd like some information like this, in-depth and focused in on your neighborhood, I'd be happy to provide you with a comparative market analysis. Just contact me. If you look below, you'll see my contact information, or you can send me a message right from here and I'll get right back to you, get a little bit of information about your property and put together a detailed analysis for you. If you're a buyer and you'd like a buyer's market analysis to help you understand the part of the market that you're shopping in, what the dynamics are, and how you can most effectively shop to find your new house, I'd be happy to do that for you. Again, just contact me through the contact information that's below, and I'll get right back to you. I'm Harry Moore with Keller Williams Capital Properties, and I want to say thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If you liked what you saw, please mash that like button. Happy thumbs are most appreciated. And if you know someone who might be interested, please share this with them. If you want to see more videos about real estate in the DMV, then subscribe and ring that bell so you'll be updated whenever new videos come out. Make it a great day, and I'll see you again soon.